Hey, it's Matt Loves Cameras. I just got my roll of Speed 400 film developed and I'm super excited to share the results with you. Now, unlike a lot of films launched this year, Speed 400 is not a repackaged cinema film, it's not a repackaged Kodak film, it is not a repackaged film that came somewhere out of Germany from the Orwo Wolfen factories. No, Speed 400 is vintage Agfa stock made in Belgium, sold exclusively by Walkens House of Film in Melbourne, Australia. Now you might be wondering how vintage Agfa made in Belgium film stock is being sold in 2023. It's not exactly common anymore. Well, there's a great little story to this. Now Walkens is based in Melbourne. Melbourne is the capital of the Australian state of Victoria. It's about a 2-hour plane flight south of where I live up here in sunny Queensland. And the story goes that until recently, some traffic cameras in Victoria, so the speed cameras and also the red light cameras, some of them were still using film, this very film that Walkens have released. And the story is that they all went digital and the state of Victoria sold off all their remaining stocks of this traffic film. So Walkens bought up the supply of this film and they have hand rolled it into 35mm canisters. So here is a box of Speed 400. Let's have a look at the box here. It's really quite nice packaging, really cool sort of, late 70s, early 80s sort of colors and fonts used there with this nice sort of yellowy orange kind of color to it. Hand rolled for your pleasure. Yes, it was my pleasure to shoot it. It was a very cool film. And on the back there, you can see it says made in Belgium. So yeah, very cool sort of retro packaging. And here is the canister of film here. It does have a DX code on, which is pretty cool. ISO 400 film there, so it's got the DX code, and it looks like that's actually a Kodak canister that has been reused. So yeah, a good bit of recycling there by Walkens. So I decided to shoot my roll of Speed 400 on my Fujifilm Klasse S. The Klasse S is one of the last premium point and shoots ever made. They were produced up until around 2012. I absolutely love my camera. However, I have neglected it lately. I've been taking a lot of photos this year on my Contax T3 and also on my Minolta TC1. So I got the Klasse S, loaded up Speed 400, and I went around my local Bayside suburbs here in Brisbane shooting colourful things to test out this film. Now, I should have probably sent the roll of film down to Walkens. They actually have a lab attached to their film shop. I sort of forgot about this, but I decided to try out a different lab called Halide Supply. I've heard really good things about Halide Supply. For example, you get high-res scans as default. So all the images here, they actually scan them 6,000 by 4,000 pixels, which is fantastic. Really prompt, good service. And yeah, I would definitely recommend them. And one of the reasons I recommend them is you actually get, as part of your Devon scan, you actually get a really cool little contact sheet. Have a look at this. So yeah, I really love this. You've got all the images on the roll here. You've got the nice little Halide Supply branding at the top. On the top right-hand corner there, you've got the number of the roll, which you can sort of cross-check with your folders and sort of keep this contact sheet inside the folder. So I really love this. I think this is a great value add-on. I didn't even know they did this when I sent my film down. So it was a great little surprise, really cool. The images for me that really pop on here are just looking at the contact sheet. The first one is the yellow flowers. Yeah, that yellow is so bright and rich, it looks fantastic. And also the two images there of the red combi van, they look fantastic. So I'm going to talk you through some of the images on this roll right now. So this is an ISO 400 speed film. I took it out in quite bright conditions one morning in Cleveland and I was walking around taking photos of, yeah, sort of colourful local scenes. So this is the Grand View Hotel. This is a place I go quite a lot to take photos because it's local, it's historic, it's an old pub. Yeah, very cool. And you've got what, on the right hand side there, you've got what we used to call an umbrella tree. I don't even know what the right name for it is, but my mum always used to call it an umbrella tree because sometimes the branches fall off and you can hold like a stick and there's like an umbrella of flowers above you. Pretty cool. So yeah, there's an umbrella sort of tree here and the hotel. Really sort of interesting colors here. It sort of almost reminds me of Portra 160 in sort of bright conditions here. It's kind of almost washed out sort of thing. The colors look a bit, I don't know, faded and not too punchy, which is kind of interesting, but I think it's perhaps because this was really bright conditions and it is an ISO 400 speed film. The next one is kind of similar. The colors look a little bit better here. The sky looks a bit richer. This is Cleveland Lighthouse, a nice little hexagonal wooden lighthouse on Brisbane's Bayside. It wasn't actually originally in this position. It was originally right against the water, and then there's some film came along. I think it was one of the Narnia films, and they actually moved the lighthouse. I don't know how they moved it, maybe a big wheelbarrow, who knows. But this is Cleveland Lighthouse, and yeah, this is a pretty standard shot, I take it. The colors look pretty good here. Moving on, there's an old sort of house here in Cleveland. Sort of like a fibro sort of house, I guess you'd call it. And it's got one of those really old, beautiful windows. These windows are very common in Queensland houses of, you know, the mid-20th century. You've got the sort of panes of glass there, and it's all like bobbly sort of glass. And the bottom right one, just one pane of glass is green. I'm not sure why, but yeah, very cool, very typical sort of Queensland scene here. The next image, again, these colors aren't looking the best so far, you know, but we are shooting in the very bright sunlight here, and you've got this sort of tree here with the pink leaves and the green foliage behind it in the blue sky. I mean, it looks good, but it just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't look perhaps as punchy as some other films I shoot. And then we come to this flower here. So by the time I took this, it was a little bit more subdued, the lighting. It was bright. I think there were some trees overhead giving a bit of shade though. And look at this, like this is beautiful. The colors here, the yellow, I absolutely love this. This is fantastic. And on my next roll, Speed 400, I'll be definitely sure to take some more images of yellow objects because yeah, that is really beautiful. I love that. And this next image I really love as well. It's some kind of bush. I'm sorry, my flora and fauna knowledge is not great, but I just love these colors. The light pinks, the dark pinks, and then the greens there. So yeah, this is probably where the film is doing a little bit better, a little slightly more subdued lighting conditions, not as bright. And yeah, the images and the colors are really rich and punchy, which is really nice. If you're enjoying this video, make sure you help me out by giving this video a thumbs up and also leaving a comment down below. And if you're new here, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. There's plenty more film reviews coming up over the next couple of months, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. I also have a free regular photography newsletter, mattlovescameras.substack.com. On my Substack, I talk about my travels, so there's lots of travel photography on there. I put my film reviews on there. I talk about my little compact digital cameras like the Ricoh GR3. So make sure you sign up. I would love to see you as part of my Substack community. And I'll also be posting some new podcast episodes soon on my Substack. That's the new home of my podcast as well. This is at dusk in Cleveland, and you've got these old buildings, and yeah, again, the colors look a little bit sort of almost washed out here, like almost like I've overexposed the film, but I haven't. So that's interesting, but sort of nice blues and reds there. And this next image again was taken in Cleveland, but this is when it was a really beautiful sunset going on, and I thought, yeah, I really want to try and capture this sunset. And look at this. I mean, it looks fantastic. Those colors there are the sky. You've got the purples and the pinks and the yellows. And I've also got some red lights in there because this was a film used for red light and speed cameras. Now we head over to Wynnum, a different part of Brisbane's Bayside. This is an image you would have seen before in my videos if you subscribe to Matt Loves Cameras. It is Manson Framers, taken this a million times. Love this little shop. I think it looks really nice. The colors here look really good. They don't look, you know, overly punchy, but they don't look washed out either. I think they look just a really nice balanced sort of look to it here. The next image is of Gum Sing Restaurant. It's a very old school Chinese restaurant in Wynnum. And yeah, we're sort of facing right into the sun here, and we're taking an image of the restaurant and the sunset behind. And yeah, I think it looks really nice. The colors look good. Again, not overly punchy, overly vibrant colors, but I think they look really nice here. The next one is the back of some shops. I really like wandering around the back of the shops in Wynnum. Sometimes I get a few weird looks from people, but I get them anyway. And yeah, this is the back of a shop, a vintage shop. And yeah, you've just got, you know, the air conditioners and the trolleys there and the old brick buildings. But yeah, this is quite nice. I really like using this film by the look of it. Some of these dusk shots look really cool. So I think I'll definitely sort of shoot in more subdued light for my next roll. This is behind the shops at Wynnum too, and you just got this wall that says tenants only, or parking sort of restriction there. And yeah, I really like the colors of that brickwork and a little thin bit of grass there. It's been very dry here lately, so a lot of our grass was dying at one stage. So yeah, I really do like that one. We're now down on Wynnum foreshore, and the tide is definitely out here. You can see all that sand there and just a little bit of water, and you've got the sort of reverse sunset there looking east over towards, you know, Morton Island, Stradbroke Island, and you've got the nice little pier that people walk out on. Well, actually, it's more of a jetty than a pier. I always say pier. It's the British kind of, yeah, well, I used to live in Britain, so that's the British coming out at me. But it's like a little jetty almost. You walk out there to the end of the water. So yeah, the colors look nice here. Perhaps a little bit underexposed here, but I still do really like that. Now we're back in Cleveland and you've got these two images of a VW combi van. Now I took one of these at normal exposure and one stop overexposed. So this is the normal exposure. You can see there the colors look fantastic. The reds look great and you've got, you know, everything looks fantastic there. Nice. I wouldn't say it's overly punchy, but there's some good rich colors in there. And then the next one, I took a tiny bit further back. I was actually on the road trying not to get run over by the 2 lanes of traffic. But I really love this one, you know, one stop overexposed here. And I don't know, it just takes on a beautiful light, airy sort of look to it. Really still nice and red, you know, rich colors there. But yeah, it looks really nice. I think next roll, I'll also be taking some images, you know, one stop overexposed as well, just to see what that looks like. And the final 2 images here were at an abandoned house out near Brisbane Airport. I can't even remember where it was now, but there was this house. It looks pretty run down, and you know that I'm like a moth to the flame with these kind of places. You know what I mean? I love old sort of Queensland houses, and you've got here some old sort of window frame here, and you've got the blue sort of wooden, you know, things of the house, and you've got the old hose reel. Yeah, I love this kind of scene. So I took an image here, and then I took one here of the slightly different composition without the hose reel, but you've got the stumps under the house and the wooden planks there, and you've just got this random bit of vine going up the house. I really love the results from my roll of Speed 400. I really did like the colors. The reds and yellows in particular look fantastic. The other colors, yeah, in really bright conditions, they did look a little bit almost like washed out in some situations. Where the film sort of tended to shine was maybe some more subdued lighting conditions. You know, still bright, but you know, maybe a little bit subdued, and the colors sort of did come out a bit more and they looked a lot better in those conditions. Now in some of the shadows in some frames, you can definitely see there's some grain there and it does look a little bit expired. So yeah, there's no hiding that this is a film made, you know, I would say over 10 years ago. But it's certainly, I think the condition of the film, the roll that I've shot so far is very good. So there's only one place you can get this film. That is on the Walkens House of Film website. I don't think they have a huge amount left. I could be wrong. So if you go on there and you see some and you want some, I would recommend grabbing it as soon as you can, because there's only a limited supply and you don't know how much they've got left. Now, of course, this film is hand rolled, so they must have had like a big bulk roll and they've cut it down and put it into canisters. And there is a bit of a warning on their webpage. Some rolls may have a few small light leaks showing on some frames after they have been developed. Sometimes this is due to quirks in the rolling process, and other times it's due to imperfections in the recycled 35mm canisters. And they also recommend that if you're using a point and shoot and there's a clear film window on the back of the camera, that you cover that up with some black tape so you don't get any light leaks in that way. Now, I actually forgot to do that with the Class S, but my roll is all good, not a single light leak. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good light leak, but there are no light leaks on this roll. And there is a final note on the page saying that, you know, if you want to shoot a wedding, perhaps use a roll of Portrait 400, don't use Speed 400. So they are sort of giving you a bit of a disclaimer there, not to use it for super important work or anything like that. So that's it for my first roll review of Speed 400. I'll be sharing some more results in early 2024 with another couple of rolls, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think about my results so far, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.